10 highest grossing movies. Number 10. Transformers: Age of Extinction. Gross $1.09 billion. Director Michael Bay was set against making a fourth Transformers movie until he saw fans queuing for 3+ to go on the Transformers ride at Universal Studios. Changing his mind, he got a $165 million budget and made a 165-minute-long film. Number 9. Skyfall. Gross $1.1 billion. Skyfall is the highest grossing out of the Bond films and has received the most Oscar nominations. Just 40 days after its release, Skyfall became the highest grossing film in UK box office history. The 23rd Bond film was almost called Once Upon a Boy. Producers had run out of titles they could take from Ian Fleming's novels, and Once Upon a Boy was a contender along with Silver Bullet and A Killing Moon before they settled on Skyfall. Number 8. The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. Gross $1.12 billion. Return of the King made movie history with 11 Oscar wins out of 11 nominations, and is the only fantasy film to win Best Picture. Oh, and if you want to watch all 3 Lord of the Rings films in a row, then set aside about 12 hours of quality coach time. Number 7. Transformers: Dark of the Moon. Gross $1.12 billion. The visual effects company, Industrial Light and Magic, had to use its entire rendering machinery for Dark of the Moon's post-production. This amounts to a total of over 200,000 rendering hours per day. And it's no wonder when the driller is made up of 70,051 separate parts. In contrast, Optimus Prime only consists of 10,108 parts. Number 6. Iron Man 3. Gross $1.22 billion. Iron Man 3 was the first in the franchise to gross over $1 billion. Its success was in part down to the Chinese version of the film being changed dramatically to make it more appealing to a Chinese audience. Some locations were switched, with places in China, and an extra 4 minutes of footage was included, which featured Chinese actors that aren't seen in the Western version. Number 5. Frozen. Gross $1.27 billion. Frozen is the highest grossing animated film of all time. It originally started out as an adaptation of Hans Christian Andersen's The Snow Queen in the 2000s, but Disney kept scrapping the project because they couldn't make it work. Eventually though, the story developed into Frozen, which took 600 people and 2.5 years to complete, but was worth the effort. In 2014, Disney sold $1 billion in merchandise in the United States alone, including enough Frozen dresses for every 4-year-old girl in North America. Number 4. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Gross $1.34 billion. Daniel Radcliffe got through 160 pairs of prop glasses across all 8 Harry Potter films, but that's nothing compared to what happened at the end of the final film. The elaborate pyrotechnics shoot for the Battle of Hogwarts went horribly wrong when explosives burned the Wizarding Castle to a crisp. No one was hurt, but it took 6 fire engines and 40 minutes to put out the flames and cost over £100,000 to replace. Number 3. Marvel's The Avengers. Gross $1.52 billion. The Avengers is the highest grossing comic book film of all time and broke records when it made $200 million in just 3 days. Even the trailer for the second Avengers film got a record-breaking 34.4 million views worldwide in just 24 hours. The ocean scene of the helicarrier was actually filmed on a runway in the Albuquerque desert, and it was so hot that the director Joss Whedon's shoes melted onto the tarmac. Number 2. Titanic. Gross $2.19 billion. It cost more to make the Titanic movie than it did to build the action Titanic ship. The film's budget was $200 million, but the ship cost about $150 million to make. All of the scenes set in 1912, which is basically the whole movie minus the present-day scenes and credits, have a total length of 2 hours and 40 minutes. That's the exact time it took for the Titanic to sink. And in the movie, exactly 37 seconds passed between the iceberg warning and the collision, which is the exact amount of the time passed before the ship hit the iceberg in real life. Number 1. Avatar. Gross $2.79 billion. Even though Avatar cost over $237 million to make, and the sequel has an estimated budget of $250 million, it earned enough money to make the film 10 times over and still turn a profit. But even though it did well, James Cameron's storyline has been criticized for plagiarism, especially from Disney Pocahontas, which debuted the same year he originally conceived the film. The Na'vi language is definitely original though, and was created from scratch by linguist Paul Frommer. Frommer began work on creating the language 4 years before the film was released, taking influence from the Ethiopian, Amharic, Persian, and Chinese languages. Fans have taken it on themselves to keep developing the language, and there are now over 2,000 words in the Na'vi's vocabulary.